What in the world does Russia and Belarus have to do with anything that relates to the end time scenario where we see the revived Roman Empire and a conglomerate of 10 nations? Well, today you are watching the first of two videos that is going to deal with exactly that. Now, for those of you that don't know what's going on, there is an issue with the border at Belarus and some issues of immigration where the leader of Belarus, many of you might not have even heard his name, Lukashenko, he is, by the way, a good friend of Putin of Russia. And he is basically threatening the rest of Europe to cut off his gas pipeline in order to prevent them from being able to have gas, which, by the way, there's a gas shortage anyway in Europe because of what's going on. Now, let me just give you a bird's eye view of what's going on, because the United States is actually now trying to warn Belarus. It doesn't matter. They don't really care, because in all honesty, Russia has just flown in a bunch of paratroopers that have literally jumped off of a plane into Belarus as kind of a joint sort of a military action that they're doing. And part of that, of course, involves the Ukraine. Now, we don't have a lot of time to talk about the Ukraine, but let me tell you the current state of affairs right now. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is saying that Belarus is using migration as a weapon, and said that the U.S. is looking at tools that it has to respond, which we know the U.S. is not going to do anything about it because they have no clause. They demonstrate that with Afghanistan, and quite frankly, Belarus and Russia are laughing at that statement. Of course, Kamala Harris has run her mouth about the situation, and she says the world is watching, but the world won't be able to do anything when the pipeline is actually cut off. That's why Belarus has actually hit back, and their defense minister basically said that the West is trying to initiate conflict and he will respond harshly. And by the way, he'll totally do it. Make no mistake about it. Now, Belarus and Russia, as I had mentioned before, held military drills near the border with UK troops that were actually deployed to beef up defenses. So the potential for conflict there is actually huge. On top of that, Russia chose to sort of make themselves look strong. They are strong right now in the region, quite frankly. And they flew 2 nuclear-capable bombers that were close to the UK border. You can't make this stuff up. And now the U.S. has positioned themselves to once again give an empty threat to Russia concerning the potential that they might invade eastern Ukraine. Now, what does that have to do with any of the end time scenarios that we're talking about? Folks, this is what's going on. Russia is getting stronger in the region. They are using Belarus as a tool to be able to accomplish their purposes. An overwhelming majority of the natural gas that Europe gets, they get from Russia, but they can't get it from Russia unless it goes through the oil pipeline that Belarus has a considerable amount of control over. And we are beginning to watch the formula for something to be created where these nations are going to realize that they cannot survive unless they combine their authority together and potentially yield some of that authority to a particular person who might be able to solve the problem that is beginning to exist in the region. Sound familiar? Folks, Jesus is coming soon. Okay? Don't forget that. He's coming soon. And all these little things that we're seeing beginning to form are not so little. They're changing. Things are happening. Keep your eyes open. We are getting close to the rapture. Because the type of things that we know are supposed to happen in the tribulation seem to be setting up to happen. And it's unbelievable, you guys. Remember, Jesus is coming soon. Keep your head up. Pay attention. Be sober-minded. Be watchful. God bless you.